Call it a fad or call it a trend, but either way, rugged SUVs are thankfully here to stay. If there's one takeaway that we can have that's positive, thanks to the crossover craze of the past 25 years, is that we're finally getting some fun, rugged adventure vehicles that are not only affordable, but also not cookie cutter like we've had for the past 20 years with compact crossovers. It's a breath of fresh air. The Bronco Sport is now on its 5th year. Believe it or not, it has been that long. And the Bronco Sport was designed to be a baby Bronco, designed to be a vehicle that was affordable, still capable, and also practical for buyers on a budget. 2025, though, brings a slew of changes. This is a mid-cycle refresh, so not too much in regards to the platform and chassis, but a lot to do with the exterior aesthetics, interior technology, interior layout, and also possibly the capability. In today's video, we're going to check out what the 2025 Ford Bronco Sport Big Bend has to offer just under $35,000. We're going to take a look at the exterior, the interior, take it out for a quick test drive, and see why, if you are in the market for a rugged SUV, under $40,000, you're considering the competition, maybe that Subaru Crosstrek or Forester Wilderness, and you're thinking, you know what, I want a vehicle that looks cool and engaging. I also want an SUV that doesn't have a CVT. Well, then maybe taking a look at the Ford Bronco Sport might be a great decision. Now, before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout and thank you to Acton Ford in Acton, Massachusetts for letting me come down here to check out the Ford Bronco Sport. Their link will be in the description below, so you can check out their extensive Ford inventory. So with that pricing, you're looking at a starting cost of right around $30,000 with the Big Bend trim. But you're probably saying, Mike, hold on. Just taking a look at the exterior, this is not a base Big Bend. This has optional packages, and it does. So for full transparency, our model comes in at around $34,000. So about $3,500 worth of options. Typically, I don't get into the packages this early in a review, but why not? Because what we have on this Bronco Sport, I think, makes a huge difference and also makes the Bronco Sport a bit more competitive with a Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness, possibly a Forester Wilderness at around $35,000. So let's dive right into that package immediately because there's a lot of excitement here for 2025. So for $2,570 to the Black Diamond Off-Road package, you're going to receive a long list of exterior features that changes the demeanor of this SUV. In fact, it kind of looks like a modern interpretation or iteration of that Ford Explorer used in the original Jurassic Park movie. Now, I'm not saying this is a body-on-frame SUV, so don't take that out of context, but if you put a Jurassic Park-themed wrap on this model, I think people would feel a bit more compelled to take on the off-road here. So what you're going to receive with this package is steel-plated front and rear bumpers with a brush guard. Right then and there, this looks so much more capable than the 2024 model. You're also going to have a Class 2 trailer tow package giving you 2,200 pounds of towing capacity. Now, if you go with a Turbo 4, which is available again for 2025, you'll have about 500 extra pounds of towing capacity. So keep all of this in mind. Now, you're also going to have fender tie-down points. You're going to notice that for the front fender. That is a new addition here, which kind of looks pretty cool and gives you a nice color contrast for the front end. You're also going to have recovery hooks, 2 for the front and 2 for the rear, so 4 overall. So if you are someone who feels compelled to take on those elements, the dirt roads and anything else you might be throwing at this model, you'll have a bit more confidence here. Also, steel underbody protection for skid plate, fuel tank, and canister shields. Again, nice little touch here that doesn't really go noticed, at least when you first take a look at this model from the outside. And then lastly will be the 17-inch carbonized gray painted aluminum wheels wrapped in all-terrain tires. We're going to talk about this later on in the video because the all-terrain tires might change up the driving experience for this model. If you're someone who doesn't go off-road, doesn't need that capability, maybe skipping out on this package might be a better choice at the end of the day. Now, there are some interior upgrades through this package, but they're not as noteworthy. We'll gloss over that when we check out the interior. Continuing on with the rest of the exterior for 2025, we are building off of what we had last year. The Black Diamond package brings a lot to the table here, but without this package, this kind of looks like last year's model. So up front, you are going to have the carbonized gray grille with the Bronco badge stamped out on that grille for a retro appearance, which is why I think a lot of people do like what this model is offering. You have LED headlights and LED turn signal indicators up front. And since we do have the convenience package, we also have LED fog lights for better visibility at night or in adverse weather conditions. Now you're also going to notice the cladding for the bottom half of the front fascia, giving you that rugged appeal that I know a lot of you are most certainly looking for in this segment. And as we make our way over to the side profile, once again we have those 17-inch alloy wheels wrapped in all-terrain tires. But the only other thing that would be of note here for this model is the fact that we don't have color-matched side mirror caps with turn signal indicators. However, we do have blind spot detection for added safety. Then finally, taking a look at the rear fascia, nothing's new here aside from the steel-plated rear bumper. So you're still going to have the same taillight design, same body line, same shape, and the Bronco Sport badge written out on the tailgate, which I think still looks pretty good in 2025. This is merely a mid-cycle refresh for the exterior, giving you some new packages, new equipment, but most of the updates for 2025 will center around the interior, which I'm very excited to showcase that for you guys because there is a lot to work with for this new model year. Powering the Bronco Sport for 2025 is the exact same engines. Now, for the Big Bend, it's a 1.5-liter turbocharged 3-cylinder engine, producing 181 horsepower and 190 pound-feet of torque. It is paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission. If you want to go higher up in the trim levels, you're still going to receive that 2-liter 4-cylinder, which is going to give you a lot more power and more exhilaration when you are using this vehicle on a daily basis. Now, 181 horsepower and 190 pound-feet of torque falls right in line with other vehicles in this market, whether they are compact or subcompact. So this should be more than sufficient for a vehicle at around $30,000 to start. As you'd expect, all-wheel drive does come standard for better year-round capability and versatility, and with the Big Bend, you do have a ground clearance of 7.8 inches. Now, for this trim, the Sasquatch package is not available, so you're not going to get the 8.8 inches of ground clearance or off-road tuned suspension, but for a lot of you looking for a vehicle that is somewhat capable and rugged, you're still going to find that here for this trim. More importantly, though, for the Bronco Sport and a model with the Turbo 3 is going to be that fuel efficiency. You're looking at right around 25 miles per gallon in the city and 30 miles per gallon on the highway for a combined average of 27 miles per gallon, which is pretty good for a vehicle in this segment. Falls right in line with other rugged crossovers such as a Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness, possibly even a Forester Wilderness. So if you're looking for a vehicle that is somewhat capable and off-road worthy with the all-terrain tires, and you still want a vehicle that is efficient, you're going to find that here with the Big Bend. Hopping inside the Ford Bronco Sport Big Bend, you are greeted by a new interior, pretty much. Even though the dashboard layout isn't necessarily all new, what you have here to work with, though, gives you a lot of value at $30,000 to start, because what you see is what you get. No optional packages necessary for a full digital gauge cluster or this new infotainment system. However, with these seats, there is one package that I think is most certainly necessary. Let's talk about it. So for $1,400 through the convenience package, you are going to receive an 8-way power adjustable driver's seat with lumbar support. Unfortunately, the passenger side is still manually adjustable. Keep that in mind. Now, with this package, you also get heated front seats as well. So on those colder mornings like today, you can be nice and warm. Also, a premium wrap steering wheel, which isn't leather, but still feels pretty nice in the hands. Gives you some extra quality here for this model. And then a universal garage door opener. Now, with these seats, they provide a lot of support and bolstering, which is pretty surprising. Now, the cloth upholstery will be easier to clean, so if you are someone who tracks in some snow or mud or dirt, this would be the better choice. But these seats are also very supportive. So there's a lot of bolstering here, not swing around too much, and I have to say, it makes the Bronco Sport feel sporty. So if you're looking for a vehicle that is going to give you some comfort on those longer road trips or longer weekday commutes, you're going to find that here with the Bronco Sport Big Bend. However, for me, it's all about the technology that does go a long way for this model. And at least for Ford, I'm glad to see they didn't cut corners, because what you have in front of you is a slightly different layout than what you're going to find in a Ford Maverick or Ford Escape, which also share the same platform. So you're going to notice the gauges are a little different. You're also going to have a Ford Bronco Sport model in the center and the Ford Bronco logo at the bottom of the screen. Nice little Easter egg there. Outside of that, though, everything is the exact same in regards to the layout. You're going to find some buttons and a toggle on the right side of the steering wheel to get you different menus efficiently and also customize this layout to your liking. So from here, you have a calm view, which is a bit more trimmed down. I personally don't like this layout, but that's up to you. Also, you can check out your fuel economy statistics, tire pressure monitoring, driving assistance features. So pretty much everything you're going to find in a Ford Escape and also that Ford Maverick. You're also going to have a menu button here, which gives you sub-menus, such as your My View. You can configure this to your heart's content. Also, trip and fuel, your Bronco information. So from here, you can access your seatbelt reminder, off-road status, and tire pressure monitoring system. Also phone, audio, and settings. So everything is pretty much the exact same if you are hopping in from that Escape. But I also like too, though, is that when you do change up the drive modes, the graphics here are phenomenal for a vehicle at $30,000. And for each drive mode, it has its own color. And in fact, the Bronco Sport that shows up in the digital gauge cluster changes color based off the drive mode that you're in. I mean, these are small things that get me excited, that have me kind of geeking out here. But, I mean, you don't see this at $30,000, so well done, Ford, on that one. Now, taking a look at the infotainment system, this is the 13.2-inch touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and Sync 4 user interface. If you're joining me from my previous reviews for the Maverick, this layout is the exact same. So at the bottom of the screen will be quick access buttons for your climate control settings, AC, front and rear defrosters, fan speed, and fan direction. Also, your 3-level heated front seats. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be saying, oh no, no more physical buttons. This is going to be very difficult to get used to. Not at all. The screen is within arm's reach, and also the layout is quite simplified here for a vehicle in this market. On the right side of the screen will be quick access icons for your settings, features, and apps. So from here, you can access YouTube. That is right, you can watch YouTube videos from the screen when this vehicle is stationary. When placing the Bronco Sport in reverse, you are going to have a rear backup camera with trajectory and a few different camera angles to work with. One being a 180-degree view, so that way you have better visibility when backing out of tight spots or in a tight garage. Also, a camera angle when you are towing something with this Bronco Sport, since we have that trailer hitch. Then continuing on to the rest of the interior, you will find a row of buttons here for your auto start stop, your hazards, your traction control on and off button. You can also turn off this infotainment system if you don't want that distracting you. And then also a button that accesses your camera system. You're going to find a volume and tuning knob here, so at least you have that to work with for the Bronco Sport. Beneath that will be that wireless phone charging pad and also a cubby for some smaller items, and you will notice a USB-C and USB-A outlet. For the center console itself, you will have that dial here like we see in a lot of Ford products, so they're not changing that up anytime soon. It is flanked by this kind of gray material. It's not gloss black, so I know a lot of you are going to appreciate that for this model. And with this material, it will be easier to clean and maintain throughout those years of ownership. You have 2 cup holders, electronic parking brake, auto vehicle hold, then of course the GOAT modes for your drive mode selector. Then for the center storage compartment, there is plenty of room for some smaller items such as a couple smartphones or wallets and other tech gadgets, and there is a little cubby for some loose change and a 12-volt outlet. And then to round out the front seating area, above is a power moonroof. But better yet though, it's not one of these moonroofs where you have to manually open that shade. You can just close that with a press of a button. That is nice to see. I've never really seen that in a model at around $30,000. That is a nice touch. Now for passengers in the second row, you're looking at right on 37.5 inches of legroom, which isn't the best in this market, and it's one of the reasons why I don't look at the Bronco Sport as being a typical compact crossover, nor do I look at it as being an ideal choice in the Ford lineup if you have a family. If you have a family, you don't go off-road, you don't need anything that's cool or rugged, go with the Escape. The Escape will give you better legroom and overall cargo space. But if you're someone who doesn't have a family, or you have a smaller family where interior space isn't a priority and all you're looking for is a fun daily driver, then maybe the Bronco Sport is going to be the right choice for you. Now, if you were to adjust these seats all the way back and have them on a recline, your passengers in the back will be feeling very cramped and claustrophobic. That is a huge difference compared to the Escape. Although you do have that higher roof line. So it's a give or take here, because if you have taller passengers on those road trips, maybe you're going camping with some friends, you can have them back here sit relatively comfortably. However, if you have taller passengers throughout, that's where people in the back will be making some sacrifices. Now, I am a bit surprised though with the Bronco Sport for the Big Bend that we have some amenities here, such as 2 center mounted air vents. Some vehicles at $30,000 don't offer that. You also have 2 USB-C inputs and a 3-pronged outlet to charge up some laptops or other electronics. And then to round out the second row seating area, you do get a center armrest with 2 cup holders. Making our way around to the back one more time to take a look at the rear cargo area, the one key feature for the Bronco Sport that I know a lot of people have loved about this model is the fact that the rear window does open independently of the tailgate. And that is huge, because if you have any cargo back here that you want to access quickly, you can do so and be on your way. Go on those trails, go on that hiking with you and your friends. Now, not a lot of manufacturers offer this to begin with, whether it's $30,000 or $100,000. So this right here is why I think the Ford Bronco Sport is these small touches that do go a long way and why this vehicle has become so popular. But let's open up the hatch once again and see what we have here behind the second row of seats. Now, unfortunately, with the Big Bend for 2025, you are not going to have a power liftgate. That is one takeaway here for this model. Keep that in mind. But behind the second row seat, you're looking at right on 32.5 cubic feet of room. Now, I personally don't think the Bronco Sport is the ideal compact crossover when you're comparing it to a Toyota RAV4 or Honda CR-V. It's a bit too small to be a direct competitor. However, this is a lot better than a subcompact crossover, because at $34,000 for our model, you could cross up this with a Crosstrek Wilderness. You could also cross up this with a Forester Wilderness or Forester. And 31 cubic feet of room falls right in line with that Forester and is far and away better than that Crosstrek. So you're going to have a lot of interior space here to load up all your gear if you are going on a road trip with the family or some good friends. Just like we saw with the Badlands close to 5 years ago, all those Easter eggs do carry over for 2025, such as the bottle opener, all the LED lights on the liftgate itself, so that way when you're camping late at night, you'll have some visibility. And then also with the lights for the cargo area itself, you'll have that Bronco badge as well. So very nice touch. Now, with the second row seats folded, you're looking at right on 65 cubic feet of room. Now, this would be very competitive with some compact crossovers, but if you are someone who is maybe considering some of those subcompact offerings at this price point, this is still going to be far and away more practical. So it's a nice balance here. Yes, I do think that for the second row it's a bit tight, but overall practicality and cargo capacity makes this a great choice for someone who might not have a family or might not need all the interior space for that second row. Despite all the changes that Ford has made for the 2025 Bronco Sport, you would expect the driving experience, driving dynamics, and ride quality to also be affected. And that just isn't the case. Probably for two reasons. One, this is the exact same platform and chassis as last year. And then two, since we had the Big Bend, the Sasquatch package isn't available for this trim. So no off-road tuned suspension. Maybe with off-road tuned suspension, this feels like a true SUV. But with the Big Bend that we have here today, even with the all-terrain tires, I'm not noticing a drastic difference compared to a Big Bend that I had featured a couple of years ago. And that actually might be a good thing, because the Subaru Crosstrek and Forester Wilderness with the all-terrain tires, you notice that the interior insulation isn't as good on those models with the Wilderness trim, and the ride quality is a bit more firm and stiff. Not so much with the Bronco Sport. This still feels crossover-like. This still feels comfortable, even though the suspension is a bit more firm than a Ford Escape. The big difference here between the Escape and the Bronco Sport is that the suspension is firmer and stiffer, the interior quality has a bit more of a hard touch plastic, and it feels more rugged on the inside, and even just the way it drives. So it's not like a traditional crossover in that way, but it still doesn't lose any of its nice attributes that it had from last year with the all-terrain tires. Now also, of course, we have the exact same powertrain, so power delivery is the same here, nothing different when you are on throttle. Also with this Turbo 3, it does a really good job. Not a lot of noise coming from that engine. And with the 8-speed automatic, it shifts pretty nicely. There are some nice smooth gear shifts here. Now, steering input wise, as expected, it is light, just like we saw last year and the years before. So there is some agility here with this model. I like to look at the Bronco Sport as being more sporty than off-road worthy, but that might change for 2025 on higher trims. But it is a fun crossover to drive. I think the power is more than enough with this Turbo 3. And also what you're getting here now for the Big Bend for 2025 with the new technology and the new packages available, this is the value trim in the lineup. The Big Bend a couple of years ago was like, all right, you know, this is the base trim, it is what it is, you know, I'm not going to receive all the creature comforts and amenities. Now for this new model year, you know, I think you could look at the Big Bend as being a great choice for those of you who maybe like what a Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness is offering, but you want just a bit more. You want more interior space. You want more practicality. This is the way to go. Also, at $35,000, this goes head-to-head with that Forester. So if you want that boxier-looking SUV, and I think a cooler-looking SUV, the Bronco Sport probably would be the ultimate choice here. But even as a vehicle that is designed to take on the elements, to take on the off-road, it's most certainly dailyable. The suspension, yes, while it is harsh, it is forgiving. You're not going over the bumps and imperfections and being thrown around like you're in a body-on-frame SUV. And also, even when you're just cruising around on some back roads, it still feels capable enough where you're not going to have the body roll, you're not going to have a vehicle that feels a bit too numb and sedated. So it is a vehicle that is both adventurous and sporty while also being daily drivable. Now, as we're about to get onto this road here, I am going to place the Bronco Sport in sport mode and see what that's like with this powertrain. I absolutely love the gauge cluster. I love the fact that the Bronco Sport in the gauge cluster changes colors. You know, those are minor touches that a lot of manufacturers won't focus on at this price range. Puts the power down pretty well. It's a turbo 3, so not a barnstormer. This is not going to be the quickest subcompact crossover or compact crossover in its market, but thankfully no CVT. I think the gear shifts were pretty good there. Even though this is sport mode, it doesn't change up the driving experience too much. I don't notice any extra weight to the steering input, and throttle response isn't much different than normal mode. So if you're looking for a bit more punch here, sport mode is great, but you could be in sport mode all the time, whether you're in stop-and-go traffic or on a winding back road. Gear shifts, though, are a bit more aggressive, but that's basically it. I do have to say, though, that with the interior insulation, with the ride quality, even with the all-terrain tires, it's still a quiet driving experience. And that's what makes it, I think, a great alternative to the Ford Escape if you don't need a family-friendly compact crossover. And also if you're looking for a fun-looking vehicle, but not sacrificing the overall comfort here. Because these seats do the job. Even when in the Big Bend, they do the job very nicely. They keep you in place, the grip is there. And really, at $30,000 to start, there's not a lot of vehicles in this market that the Bronco Sport directly goes head-to-head against. It's not like at $60,000 where you could cross-shop a Bronco with a Jeep Wrangler or even a Toyota Land Cruiser. So the Bronco Sport's still kind of on its own here unless you want to cross-shop it with Subaru products, because Jeep is no longer in this segment, and I have no idea if they're ever going to come back to this market. So if you're someone looking for an adventurous crossover, you want an SUV that looks fun, young, youthful, and also now has a technology, I think the Bronco Sport for 2025 is a more compelling choice than that Ford Escape. And I also think that what you have here with the packages available for the Big Bend, or even as high up with the Badlands, you have an SUV that now feels more capable, more competent, more off-road worthy. And that's what buyers are looking for. And there's not too many options like that between $30,000 and $40,000 right now in the US. So if you're someone ready to make that leap, you're ready to jump from that Ford Escape or maybe some other vehicle in the Ford lineup, and you want an SUV that looks boxy, rugged, and has that baby Land Cruiser look or Land Rover Defender look, this would be the ultimate choice for you, in my opinion. It just has those attributes, but in a smaller frame, in a smaller body, and also built on a unibody chassis. So you take the elements from more expensive vehicles, throw them into a smaller model, and that's what you have here with the Bronco Sport. I just hope that in some way in the future, Ford gives us a small body-on-frame SUV. Now, I understand they have a two-door version of the full-size Bronco, and you look at the prices for those now, they're very compelling. They definitely look interesting for sure. But I would love to see a small body-on-frame crossover or SUV at this price point from $30,000 to $40,000. But that is something that we'll never receive here, so it's probably not even worth mentioning. But I would love to see that offered from Ford, because this right here is a great package for 2025. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this quick review for the 2025 Ford Bronco Sport Big Bend. If you did, please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys next time.